Hi, my name's Eli. Today we're going to do something different. We're going to read a book called Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt by Chuck Tingle. I have it currently on my Kindle because owning a physical copy of this book is humiliating, and it is free on Kindle Unlimited. Shameless plugs. So, let's begin. Where does the miracle of science end and magic begin? Some people would say that magic is not... some people would say that never. That magic is nothing more than something we can't quite understand yet, but eventually will. I'm going to start that from the beginning. Where does the miracle of science end and magic begin? Some people would say never. That magic is nothing more than something we can't quite understand yet, but eventually will. Just because a force seems mysterious and exotic doesn't mean that it can't be quantified later on. As a young researcher, I haven't been around in my field long enough to see any of those enormous changes take place. But I like to remind myself about things in the present that must have seemed like magic to those in the past. Electricity alone could have been framed in another way decades ago. Consider the results of hours upon hours of careful black magic. Poetry. Of course, I know better. Magic isn't real, nor the various mystical trappings that come along with it. Love at first sight or luck, just to name a few. I'm a staunch septic tank. Yep. I'm a staunch skeptic, just as anyone else with my job, a research assistant at Rebel Biological Labs, should be. Even a hardline skeptic like me can't help but feel a little twinge of magic in the air when they first hear the news about Hunter Tuck Island. The now private island was recently purchased by a rather eccentric billionaire who immediately went to work doing clone research and creating several living copies of himself. At first, the news of the small island colony was met with various scoffs of doubt, but as time went on and evidence was presented, the findings were quickly regarded as scientific truth. Of course, there was a whole new slew of ethical arguments to be addressed here, especially because the clones were not exact replicas, but rather mutants of the original sample, biologically programmed to be less intelligent worker drones. These drones were then used to build an entirely new infrastructure on the island. I was ecstatic. Finally, the first massive shift in biology, and I am poised on the front lines of progress. But once the breakthroughs on Hunter Tuck Island became regarded as scientific fact, the ability to recreate such incredible results was quickly locked up tight. I can't blame them. After all, once we have the ability to create these worker drone clones, the business potential is almost unlimited. The entire industry would be a gold mine, redefining the entire world's economy. Of course, the government was quick to step in and put a stop to all of this. Regardless of what a league of worker drone clones could do for progress, there was just too many people getting worked up about human rights and the human rights of such mindless creatures. Maybe they had a point, maybe not, but it was absolutely fascinating. It was an absolutely fascinating new discovery nonetheless. I can't read out loud. I meant to read. Here at Rebel Biological Labs, we've taken a balanced approach to moving forward. We've used the early results from Hunter Tuck Island to create the basis of our experiments, but started over completely with the best of the research. To describe it in another way, we've taken a photo of their finished puzzle, and now we're working hard to put all the pieces back into the right place. Thanks to a massive loophole, all of our research is perfectly legal. So long as we don't use any exact copies of the Hunter Tuck method, and as long as we aren't hiring any outside test subjects. The only people we are allowed to test on are ourselves. Ignore that awkward. Yeah. As intimidating as it could be to have a potential clone running. As intimidating as it could be to have a potential clone running around out there in the world, it's not really that hard to volunteer for experimentation because, to this day, none of the experiments have yielded any living results. That is, until today. I walked into work that morning like I would on any other day, swiping my key card through the laboratory reader and walking past, yes, as the door automatically opens with a soft hiss. I say hello to the security guards and continue down a long hallway into the depths of the facility until I reach Lab 243, a highly secretive and high clearance area. I swipe my card again and enter. "Kirk!" shouts one of my colleagues, Dr. Porter, as he sees me. He opens his arms wide and stands up from his row of computers to greet me with a warm hug. "Today's the big day." "I know," I said with a laugh. "I'm up to bet." Dr. Porter motions me over to his lead computer and types in a few quick commands. A bright blue display of cloning schematics popping up onto his computer screen. My eyes go wide the second that I see what he has planned. "Oh, whoa, it's great, isn't it?" Dr. Porter offers with an excited smile. The cloning process, on the surface, is fairly simple to accomplish, but not in a way that we want to do it. Anyone can extract some DNA and place it into an egg, creating a new version of you at birth that will take 9 months to gestate and then come out as a beautiful bouncing baby. However, for our practical application of cloning worker drones, or other specified job for that matter, we need our clones to emerge at the same age as the subject. In other words, I'm a 22-year-old man, and we need my worker drone to be as well. The problem with this is that the rapid, almost instantaneous cell growth is far from stable. Instead of fully complete clones, we have been creating strange and disturbing piles of lifeless flesh. Or worse. If I wasn't so interested in science and human progress, then I would be horrified. But instead I find myself in utter fascination with every passing experiment. Of course, some positive results would be great, but each failed trial is just another brick in the road built towards a result. That's beautiful. Yeah. Lately, we have been trying to keep the rapid cell growth stable by combining the DNA with small markers from various animals, as well as taking them from different, specific regions of the human body. With today's trial, which I have been randomly selected for as a subject, is going to be DNA from my brain, my ass, and a hawk. I'm not making this up. What a combination! I say out loud with a laugh. Dr. Porter shrugs. Last time I was in there, we tried my arm, a lung, and a catfish. And? I questioned curiously. We got a very creepy balloon-type thing flopping around. Dr. Porter shrugs. Had to put it down immediately. What? When I hear stuff like that, it makes me slightly nervous about the way we've started playing God here at Rubble Laboratories. On one hand, I really do understand the history-making application of what we have going on here. But on the other, it can be a little unsettling sometimes. I leave and I meet with our resident nurses for some time, who take all of the required samples from my body while Dr. Porter prepares the hawk. 6 hours later, we meet back in the lab. How is it looking? I ask Dr. Porter. Good, very good, he nods. The DNA has been synthesized and is already inside the egg. I look out through a large glass window before us that stares into a sterilized chamber, completely white and almost entirely empty other than the table, a large synthetic egg, and some injection equipment. "It's already in?" I ask excitedly. "For how long?" "10 minutes, Dr. Porter says. Should be ready to come out any minute now." I mix together my voices. Normally, the gestation period takes no longer than 10 minutes, so if we don't see any results soon, our chances of success go down drastically. I lean forward, peering into the chamber with rapt attention. I'm used to failure by now, but that doesn't mean that moments like this are any less tense. The seconds turn into minutes, and soon Dr. Porter and I are relaxed, talking to one another about the genetic combination that we're going to try. It's over. The fact that there was no result at all was probably because of the brain cells, says Dr. Porter. It's just too delicate an organ. We never get what we are looking for when we add that to the cocktail. I don't know, I start. I think that the brain is our only chance. We need to look at whatever's happening in the bird DNA. Other birds have great results. The hawk is just not happening for some reason. Scientific method. Bird A don't work at other bird. Dr. Porter is about to refute my statement and gets his mouth halfway open before suddenly there is a loud slam against the glass behind us. Dr. Porter and I jump in surprise, immediately looking up to find a rather large, winged butt hovering in the air just inside the glass. "Hey there," says the butt. "You think you could let me out of here? I'm freezing my ass off," the rump chuckles to himself. My partner and I exchange glances of excitement. "Of course," Dr. Porter says, running over to the containment chamber and opening it up. "Welcome." The flying butt flaps its way inside and then lands on the desk in front of us. Yeah. And it says hello. "Congratulations on our first sentient creation," Dr. Porter says, extending his hand to the butt, who takes it with his wing and shakes firmly. "Happy to be here," says the ass, "but you can call me Kirk's butt." "Oh, you know that you're my butt?" I ask. "Of course I do," says the winged ass. "I'm made from your brain. I know everything that you know." A slight chill runs down my spine. I hadn't realized that all of my deepest secrets would suddenly be transplanted into this butt. I try my best, but I'm still a flawed man with a penchant for running out on relationships and taking practical jokes too far. "Don't worry, I'm not gonna spill the beans," my butt says with a wink. What did it wink? What does a butt with wings have to wink? Never mind. I nod. Dr. Porter finds himself glancing back and forth between us, clearly picking up on the vibe that's being established. After many nights out drinking with Dr. Porter, he has proven himself to be a killer wingman, and already he's showing his impeccable support once again. It's been a long... Hold on a moment. This thing was just created. It's been a long day, Dr. Porter says, doing his best to fake a yawn. Your butt can't stay here all night. There's no place to sleep. Why don't you take him home and then we can pick this up tomorrow morning? I gave Dr. Porter a knowing look of thanks, and he smiles back in return. You need a wingman for this. What's gonna happen in this? I don't know. Just wait a little longer. Oh, God. That sounds good to me, my ass says. Yeah, totally. I tell Dr. Porter and then turn to my living butt. You hungry? I've never eaten. It sounds amazing. Responds my sentient ass. Let's go. Seeing as it's its first meal ever, I decide to splurge a bit on my butt, taking him out to a fancy French restaurant in the hip part of town. It would usually be impossible to get a reservation on such a short notice, but thankfully I know someone who works here, and she's able to pull some strings for us. The next thing I know, I'm sitting across from my own ass, looking deep within his soulful eye. Not sure what to ask you, I confess. I mean, you know pretty much everything I know, right? Pretty much, says the butt, his wings folded neatly behind him. He takes a long sip from his wine glass, savoring every moment before setting it back down onto the table. But I've never felt it. That, right there. Felt what? I asked, confused. I have all your memories about drinking wine. I know what to expect when I do it, and I know what it's going to taste like, but I've never truly tasted it for myself, the butt explains. It's incredible. Whoa, I say, that is amazing. I'm actually kind of jealous of you right now. Really? Asks my living butt. Why jealous? I know we're both 22, but at the same time you have so much to experience. Everything is going to be new and exciting for you. My butt smiles. How? Yeah, I suppose it is, like this fucking steak that I just ordered. It says fucking right in the book. I laugh. You're interested in food, aren't you? Well, I am a butt. My butt jokes. The only thing you have to do with food is the end of the process. So I suppose being on the other end would be exciting. I don't know, keep reading. I laugh out loud at this, impressed with his similar sense of humor to my own. For the first time in a long time, I actually feel like I'm sitting across the table from someone who really gets me, deep down at the core of my being. It's hard enough dating a gay man in today's world of casual hookups and reckless slings. I'm looking for something more. Incredibly, I think I might have just found it. That's not to say that my feelings for my own living ass aren't sexual. Far from it. The connections that I'm looking for is something that embodies every kind of attraction. If I'm going to be honest, at this very moment I can barely contain my lust for this suave, sophisticated living butt. Even the features that I don't directly recognize as my own are absolutely gorgeous, like the brilliant golden wings that sprout from his back. I feel like you need a name, I tell my own butt. I know that you're a part of me, and I love that about you, but you also need an identity of your own. My ass thinks about this proposition for a moment and then nods in agreement. All right, what's my name? How about Portork? Portork. Yeah, I offer. That's a pretty sexy name. Portork, my ass repeats out loud. Yeah, it's very manly, but also seductive. I like that name a lot. Portork it is. I laugh. Cheers to that. The two of us raise our wine glasses and clink them together right as our steaks arrive, perfectly cooked, as rare as can be. I watch as Portork slices off a thin, tender strip of meat and then chews it happily, swallowing it with complete satisfaction. And, I ask, what do you think? My winged ass smiles. It's incredible. Suddenly I found myself overwhelmed with lust for this incredible butt. I know that this is only the first night we've known each other, but I also know that the feelings I have for this ass are not some passing phase. This is as real as it gets, and if I don't say something now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Oh, something's gonna happen. That's not good. Is there anything else you wanted to experience? I asked Portork. The living butt immediately picks up on the weight of my words, eyeing me suspiciously. Yeah, of course, he says. Anything that I can help you with? I question, continuing to lead him along. I can immediately tell that Portork understands what I am asking for from him, reading between the lines with expert precision. The butt hesitates for a moment, and then finally offers. I'd like to try anal. Yeah. I think I can help you with that. I tell him with a sly grin. The second that we get back to my apartment, all bets are off. Poor Turk and me stumble through the door, kissing frantically as we make our way towards the bedroom. The second that we get inside, I push my living ass down on the bed and watch as he spreads his majestic wings out behind him. For a living butt, his physique is quite impressive, and I laugh out loud when I realize I'm only complimenting myself. I'm not reading that part out loud. It's got a penis in it. More penises. I'll give you a hint. There's a line in this called the butt's cock. And I think I'm done with this. I'm just gonna read this line out. Eventually, poor Torque comes to a stop. My own ass completely buried deep within my own ass. I grab hold of my disembodied ass and pull him close. Jesus Christ. Well, that's the book. The rest of it's inappropriate. If you want to read it, you can get it on Amazon. Or not. But hey, if you want to see me read more of this, you just leave a request. Chuck Tingle is the author of this thing. And if you want to check him out, he's got some things. They're kind of weird. But you might be into them, and I can't judge the way you live. But I'm not into it. I'm not into being pounded by my own butt with hawk wings. Yeah. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Bye.